Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I'm Caleb, 35, born and raised in Ohio. The kind of guy who believed that love was something you protected even when it was heavy. I'd been with Marissa for 6 years. Smart, sharp-tongued. The kind of woman who made every room adjust itself around her confidence. I loved her fiercely, maybe too fiercely. That might have been the first mistake. Things didn't fall apart overnight. They never do. It started with little dismissals. Her rolling her eyes when I talked about work. Her shrugging when I asked if she wanted to spend time together. Her, "I'm tired," excuses that never matched the hours she spent on her phone, smiling at a screen that wasn't me. But I told myself every relationship goes through phases. You don't abandon someone you love just because things get rough. I didn't realize I was the only one still trying. The night everything cracked started on a Tuesday, the kind of cold evening where the air feels thin. I'd made dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta and garlic bread. Hoping we could sit, talk, maybe find each other again in the quiet. She didn't even take her coat off. Just stood in the doorway, tension wrapped around her like a second skin. "We need to talk," she said, arms crossed, eyes distant. My stomach tightened. "Okay, about what?" She sighed, like even forming the words was an inconvenience. "About you, Caleb. About this clinginess. This begging for attention. It's exhausting." The word begging hit harder than I expected. "I'm not begging," I said quietly. "I'm trying to understand what's happening between us." "There it is," she muttered, looking away. "Always emotional. Always wanting reassurance. Just," she exhaled sharply, "just be a man for once and stop begging." Those words burned straight through me. I didn't yell. I didn't break. I just stood there, hollowed out. I think she expected a reaction. Maybe an apology, maybe desperation. Maybe she wanted to see me scramble to prove I was worth loving. But something inside me stopped turning. "All right," I said, calm, too calm. "If that's what you want, I'll stop." She blinked, thrown off by how steady my voice was. "Good," she said, grabbing her keys. "I'm going out with Elena. Don't wait up." The door closed behind her, but the silence she left behind felt louder than anything she could have said. That night, the shift started. Not out of anger, out of clarity. You can only break your own heart trying to hold onto someone who doesn't want to stay. The next morning, I didn't text her good morning. I didn't ask how she slept. I didn't check if she got to work safely. Silence isn't loud until you stop filling it. By noon, she messaged me, "Marissa, you okay?" I stared at the screen for a long moment, then locked my phone without replying. When she came home that night, she expected the version of me she could dismiss, the man who'd tiptoe around her moods. Instead, she found me reading on the couch, relaxed, unbothered. "You didn't text me all day," she said. I looked up calmly. "You said stop begging. I'm respecting your boundary." She opened her mouth, closed it again, then walked away without another word. But the confusion in her eyes was unmistakable. 2 days passed, then 3. The space between us stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like oxygen. I cooked for myself, went to the gym with my friend Jude, slept without knots in my chest. The world didn't collapse the way I thought it would if I stopped reaching for her. Turns out, the only thing I lost was the version of myself she built. By the 4th day, she couldn't take the distance anymore. "Caleb, can we talk?" she asked, standing in the doorway of our bedroom like someone waiting for permission. I marked my page and set the book down. "Sure. What's on your mind?" She hesitated, chewing her lip, choosing words carefully. Something she hadn't bothered doing in months. "I feel like you're pulling away." "I'm giving you what you asked for," I said evenly. "You didn't want me trying." "That's not what I meant," she insisted. "You're acting cold." "No," I said. "I'm acting self-respecting." Her face flushed, not with anger but with something close to fear. "I didn't think you'd actually change." "I know," I said. "That's the problem. Some truths don't need volume to hit hardest." Her expression softened, almost regretful. Caleb, can we start over? Talk things out. For the first time, I realized she wasn't in control anymore. Silence had tipped the balance. Her sudden gentleness would have disarmed me a few months ago. Back then, I would have grabbed onto any sign of softness like a lifeline. But clarity changes a man. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And the truth was simple. She'd only valued my presence when it was desperate. When it wasn't, she didn't know what to do with me. I leaned back on the couch, watching her eyes flicker with something I hadn't seen in a long time: uncertainty. Marissa wasn't used to not being the center of gravity. She wasn't used to me being calm and steady instead of orbiting around her moods. What exactly do you want to start over from? I asked. She stepped closer, as if proximity could rewrite history. From us. From where we were before things got tense. Tense? I repeated, letting the word hang. That's a delicate way of saying you talk to me like I was beneath you. Her shoulders tensed, but she didn't deny it. She couldn't. The memory of her voice, sharp, impatient, echoed too clearly. Be a man and stop begging. I didn't mean it like that, she whispered. Intent doesn't erase impact, I said quietly. She sat down beside me, leaving a careful few inches of space. It was the first time in months she'd given me space voluntarily. I don't want to lose you, Caleb. The ironic part? She'd already lost the version of me she thought she controlled. And she knew it. Then why did you treat me like someone disposable? I asked. Why was everything I did considered begging? She swallowed hard. Because I thought you'd always stay. I thought, no matter how I behaved, you wouldn't go anywhere. That confession landed with a heaviness that made my stomach turn. I'd mistaken her certainty for security. Turns out it was complacency. People stay, I said, until you give them nothing worth staying for. Her eyes shimmered, and for a second I didn't recognize her. Gone was the woman who dismissed me with eye rolls and silence. In her place was someone who genuinely feared losing something she assumed she'd always own. I'm sorry, she murmured. I know I haven't been good to you. I've been stressed, overwhelmed, dealing with my own stuff, but I took it out on you. You didn't deserve that. It was the first real apology I'd heard in a very long time. But apologies don't rewind time, they just acknowledge it happened. I'm glad you're realizing that, I said softly. But something changed in me too. I'm not the man who kept chasing love like it was slipping through his fingers. She reached for my hand, tentative, almost timid. I want to try, really try. I miss you. The you who used to talk to me, laugh with me, care about every little thing. I didn't appreciate it then, but I do now. I looked down at her hand without touching it. You miss the version of me that tolerated being dismissed. That's not fair, she whispered. It's completely fair, I replied. You didn't want partnership. You wanted emotional convenience. Her hand slowly dropped into her lap. The silence that followed wasn't bitter. It wasn't cold. It was honest, finally. And honesty can feel like a wound when it's been avoided too long. Caleb, what do you want? She finally asked. It wasn't a demand. It wasn't defensive. It was a real question, spoken by a woman who finally understood she wasn't guaranteed the answer she wanted. I want peace, I said. And I think I've finally found some by stepping back. Her breath hitched. Are you saying it's too late? I thought about that for a long moment. Not out of cruelty, but clarity. There is something sacred about peace after chaos. Once you taste it, you don't willingly return to the storm. I'm saying I don't know, I said. I'm not going to rush into fixing something that wasn't broken overnight. I'm not begging for closeness anymore. If this is going to be rebuilt, it won't be on my knees. A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it quickly, almost angrily, like she didn't want me to see her vulnerability now that mine was no longer for sale. This is my fault, she said quietly. It's not about fault, I replied. It's about patterns. And I won't go back to who I was. She nodded slowly, absorbing every word, every boundary she never thought I'd have the strength to draw. I'll do the work, she whispered. I'll show you. Good. I said, standing up. Then start by giving me space. Real space. Not punishment. Not silent treatment. Just space to breathe. She looked up at me, eyes wide with regret, with longing, with the realization that her words, "Be a man and stop begging," had become her own undoing. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll give you that." I walked past her, not out of anger, but out of freedom. A freedom I should have claimed long before she weaponized the word man against me. Funny thing is, once I stopped begging, she started. Not loudly, not desperately, but in the quiet way regret always shows up. Late, trembling, and painfully honest. Because sometimes the moment you stop proving your worth is the moment someone realizes they never deserved you in the first place.